Wow. Okay, here we are. We're at the end. We've made it through Twilight. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this journey. You are listening to Let's Unpack That, the podcast where two college-age graduates analyze books that we read when we were children and look at them from a socio-political perspective and also just kind of bitch about things. Yeah, I'm Nenah.
I'm Lidia, and I just finished watching the last Twilight movie. So I'm reeling a little bit.
So she's reeling, so we decided to jump right into it. So Lidia, let's sit down. Let's talk about this a little bit. Unpack your feelings for me.
Well, right now I'm looking up an article about why they CGI'd the frickin' baby. Apparently
yes.
They had a doll that they were using.
They did, and the doll was super creepy and didn't look real.
It was so creepy that the crew called it Chuck Esme.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my
yes,
goodness.
indeed.
See, it wouldn't have bothered me as much if they had actually consistently used the actress that they hired to play the kid. Mm-hmm. They CGI'd her face even after that.
What do you mean?
Like a couple times when she was in the vision, when she was on Edwards, when she was on Jacob's back and they were running through the forest, her face was CGI.
Well, I'm pretty sure that whole scene was CGI because she was on the back of a giant werewolf.
No, but you can do that where it's like a mechanical bull, but it's green screen. It's made of green screen material. Kind of like how they did the brooms flying for Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
How they just had the broom and everything else was around them was green screen.
I guess I never really realized that her face was CGI'd on there.
A couple times. I think that shows that how much of a budget that they had. They had a huge budget, man.
They had a huge budget. And also, I would have to say maybe part of it is just the child actor laws and contracts and stuff. Maybe they ran out of time.
If Harry Potter could do it, Twilight could do it.
That's very true. But this is a totally different budget scale. Like, I don't think anything since Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or Star Wars has gotten as big of a budget.
I could see that. I saw multiple points where they were definitely just, like, blowing the budget, like, throwing money at it. The beginning, all those helicopter shots were probably really expensive. All of the fancy transitions were probably really expensive. All the special effects with all of the vampires who were there. And that whole ending sequence with naming all the actors. And of course, the huge battle.
I can't help but say that I get really emotional watching the ending credits roll on Breaking Dawn. Because, like, it's the end of a story. And arguably, it's not a very good story. But it's the end of a story, and that always makes me kind of sad. And then I also think about, well, I'm sure that the cast was relieved, but also somewhat sad to, close out their story. Like, all the work that they put in, it's just like, it's a closing of another chapter. And whether or not it's a good thing, I don't know, makes me strangely emotional thinking about it. So when I rewatched all of the Twilight movies a couple months ago, and the last credits rolled, I was like, oh, I'm strangely moved by this.
Yeah, I will admit to having a little bit of an emotional reaction to the ending.
Which part of the ending?
Well, it all started when they frickin' ripped Carlisle's head off.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, spoiler alert, whatever. I guess I thought that all of Breaking Dawn had been spoiled for me, but it hadn't. Because I had no idea that this was just going to be all fake. And I thought for a solid 15 minutes that Carlisle was freaking dead and that some of the werewolves were dead. And I was like, oh no, they're just kids. So that's when I started like having an emotional spiral. And then in the end, like, I was like, yes, this is the end of a big thing. And I guess the fake battle showed me that I actually do care about some of the characters after spending 10 to 12 hours with them in the past 4 days.
That is hilarious. So here was my take on that part of the movie. My mom and I had gone to see it for my 16th birthday because she and I had watched the other, I think we'd watched actually the rest of them, all 4 of them together at one point. So we wanted to go and finish the movie together. It was like our big mother-daughter 16th birthday thing. And I just remember I was sitting there with just like my jaw on the ground. I was like, this is fucking happening. This is really fucking happening. Like, I'm watching this really fucking happening. It did not happen. But I remember there being I think it was an interview or an article that Meyer released saying, like, I couldn't think of any way to end the series with a battle without killing off some of my characters. And I didn't want to kill off any of my characters, so I didn't do it. So as far as I understand, I think that's the alternate ending, how that battle would have played out had it happened in the books.
What that scene really did in the end for me was make me realize exactly how powerful Alice is. I was shitting on her power a couple episodes ago, saying that, like, she's the least powerful, but, like, that's a kick-ass move.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a minute, Lidia. You sitting there shitting on my girl.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I do have thoughts on all the movies.
Okay. Why don't we just jump into it? I mean, I know we're going to be talking about the end of Twilight, but heck, let's just get it out of the way now while it's fresh in your mind and painful and...
Well, I'm still having an emotional reaction to it. Oh, one last thing about Breaking Dawn before we move on to my going through the series. How does that work in the books? If they're from Bella's perspective, like, do we see that battle at all?
No, not at all. And that's why it was so shocking. We just see Alice step up and, like, show Aro her vision, and it's, like, quiet. Essentially, we just skip that whole battle scene and we just go to, like, she's telling the truth, we cannot fight her. But he leaves being, like, very, like, ooh, we'll be back, ooh. And not really, like, with his tail between his legs the way he does at the end of the movie.
Well, that's kind of boring.
Kind of is an understatement. It was definitely a letdown.
I mean, once again, why these are better suited for screen. More perspectives.
If any of our friends become screenwriters and famous directors, I think we know who we're both talking about, I'm going to pitch this idea to them to, like, do, like, the Twilight series, but in depth in a TV show. Let's get some Alice backstory. Let's get some Rosalie backstory. Let's find out who the fuck Emmett is, because no one seems to know. It'll be great.
Yeah. He's the only one who doesn't get a backstory flashback, and yet he was one of my favorites.
I know! You kind of just have to love him, right?
Yeah, he's such a dork.
Like, he's kind of, like, I don't know, I almost akin him to, like, Joey from Friends. Like, how you doing? But also being like, I love you, and I'm gonna protect you, and my love for Joey will never end. Okay, so what are your concluding thoughts on the films altogether? Was that kind of it? Like, they're better off as films, or?
Yeah, they're better off as films as a whole. Eclipse, I remember watching it at, like, I don't know, age 12 or 13. I never made it all the way through the book. It just took so long for stuff to happen. It's like, fine, forgettable. Eclipse was the funniest of them. Eclipse and Breaking Dawn Part 1. They're just ridiculous scenes. You know, now that I think of it, I don't remember what happened in Eclipse.
Funny, but forgettable. Wow. Sounds like my high school experience.
Funny, but forgettable. I mean, I remember laughing out loud, but I don't really remember it.
Well, that's the one where, like, Victoria's coming back. They have to go, like, that battle within all the newborn vampires. They climb a mountain for no fucking reason, and Bella's up there freezing to death, so Jake comes in and makes, like, sexual innuendos towards her. And
that whole thing was... Jacob was really nice until he became a werewolf, and then he just became a jackass. He tried to gaslight Bella into thinking that she loves him. Where was this in your character? 1. And 2, why are you shitty?
I mean, I always believed that Bella loved him. I was always under the impression, like, she's too torn over Edward. Jacob and Bella belong together. But yeah, no, he does turn into a kind of a dick. It's a little less dramatic in the books, I think, because we do see more of him, because, you know, we're seeing it from Bella's perspective.
Right, yeah.
So it's better in the books.
I guess it's just there's so much anger around being a werewolf. Like, he's so angry that he is one, and it's the anger that often triggers the transformation.
Right.
It's just so ingrained into the werewolf thing that I don't even know if that was Jacob anymore. I want to believe that it was not, that he was actually good and kind and respectful like he used to be, and that just turning changed him. But also, like, why is that a necessary part of being a werewolf? Why is so much of the supernatural rooted in anger? That's the deep thought for today.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I think you're right. Like, all of the werewolves are angry.
And they have to be angry in order to be werewolves. Like, it's conflict that triggers the change. It's anger and, like, protectiveness and territorialness that makes them what they become.
It's hashtag problematic.
Male anger. I have no time for it.
All right.
Okay, moving on to Breaking Dawn Part 1.
Do you remember what was laugh out loud funny about that one?
The wedding speeches were hilarious.
Those wedding speeches were great.
Fucking awkward.
Oh, it was so uncomfortable.
When her mom started singing.
I know.
Like, what the fuck? Also, Phil didn't come to her wedding.
Of course he didn't come to her wedding. He doesn't exist.
Half of his torso is in frame for like a second in that movie.
I know. I know.
When the mom gets the wedding invitation, it's like, okay, he's a real person.
He's there.
He's there. But he's not there. I hate you, Phil.
I hate you, Phil.
Another funny part. So you know how in the first movie, Stephenie Meyer's in the diner? Mm-hmm. She's at the wedding.
Oh, I know. Isn't it great?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wait, is that her?
Wait a minute. What are you doing here, you crazy bitch? Who invited you?
I mean, she can invite herself. Funny/weird. The sex in Breaking Dawn Part 1 is awful. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is coming from me.
Lydia, I love you so much. I love you so endlessly, but this is coming from you.
No, but like, I think that gives me more validity because I know when stuff like sex scenes make me uncomfortable, that it's like, it's hot.
Okay.
I was just weirded out.
Okay.
Just plain like, this does not look like they're having a good time. What is going on? They're in the water, they're naked, there's a housekeeper.
Are
they speaking Spanish or Portuguese? Because I couldn't tell sometimes.
I think they're supposed to be speaking Portuguese.
They were supposed to be, yeah.
But what did it sound like?
At times it sounded like Spanish with an Argentine accent. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like, I haven't heard a lot of Portuguese, and I know it sounds a lot like Spanish, but I thought it was supposed to have more ch sounds in it.
I mean, but Robert Pattinson's shoulders when he, like, broke the headboard was kind of hot.
No, that wasn't.
The shoulders, the shoulder muscles. The only part of that was hot. The breaking things, no. I would have pulled up my panties and been like, goodbye. But the shoulder muscles, I appreciated it.
I mean, they're both, like, physically attractive people. Mm-hmm. They are beautiful. I could tell that they hated being in that situation and hated trying to act like that. And, like, do you know the trade secret for movies, how they do sex scenes?
You mean other than the penis pocket?
No, I was referring to the penis pocket.
Oh, yes! People,
when they were talking about this scene, actually, that was the first time I heard about the penis pocket. I don't know how old I was.
It's great.
Also, weird moments.
Okay.
The baby.
Okay.
Just existing in general. Okay, it seemed kind of like social commentary that she didn't think that Edward could get her pregnant, but then, oh, surprise, you're gonna have a baby, you're gonna be a teen mom. It's like, is that, I don't know. But then everybody wants to abort it.
I know. They don't think it's a baby, except for Rosalie.
And, like, Rosalie, oh, man. She really came into her own as a character during that.
Oh,
like, she just loves the baby so much.
I mean, she was also willing to let Bella die for the baby.
True.
But, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
I just want everybody to know that that is not how C-sections work.
You mean not with teeth and snarling and crunching sounds?
No, not with one single, like, slash across the belly and then a bite and then, oh, there's a baby. No, it's much more delicate than that, I'm pretty sure.
Let's hope so. Do we have any audience members who would like to elaborate?
I mean, the C-section is a nifty invention.
It's quite cool.
But yeah, then there's the CGI baby, the CGI child.
We love our CGI child. We uphold and support our CGI child.
We uphold and support the CGI child, but not the CGI. I'm trying to think of where CGI of human faces was at that point, because, like, I've been watching a lot of videos about good and bad CGI lately, where actual people who do special effects review CGI from a bunch of movies.
Carrie Fisher!
Yes. Obviously, it's gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. If they had so much money to pour into Breaking Dawn parts 1 and 2, especially part 2, could they not at least have made it better? Because I know it's not just a money issue, it's also a time issue. Because if the animators don't have enough time to do a good job, they can't render a good image and a convincing image. So maybe this was all last minute.
You've seen the picture of Chuck Esme, right?
No, I haven't.
There we go.
Oh, shit. That's the doll?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. They had to act at that?
Yep.
Gotta say, I have a lot more respect for those actors now.
Mm-hmm.
That is a hideous thing. I mean, at least the CGI version is smiling.
Yep.
Not just looking at you with its huge forehead.
And weird lips.
Okay, can we talk, since we're talking about the baby,
okay,
can we talk about the fact that Jacob imprinted on this baby before it was born?
Yes, and can I just say, the imprinting is never an inherently romantic thing. I defend Jacob till my dying breath, and this is the only time that I will defend this. Meyer has said repeatedly, like, it's not a sexual attraction. It's like filling in the role that she needs. So like big brother or protector, uncle, you know, whatever she wants. It's not necessarily him like wanting to fuck a baby. It's more him like, I'm going to love you and protect you in whatever capacity that you need me to. So it's not as creepy as internet trolls like to say. It's not inherently romantic or sexual. Like, he's not in love with her when she's, like, a little baby. He wants to protect her and save her. Come on, guys.
Yeah, and I think the movie tries its best to make that clear. But the fact that all of the imprinting that we've seen has been romantic, and that it's heavily implied that Jacob and Renesmee will end up together when she's older. They're partners in all of the visions. It still doesn't dispel all that doubt.
No, there's another wolf member who imprints on a 2-year-old, but like he's more like a glorified babysitter. He doesn't really see her as anything other than that. So she tried not to make it sexual and ended up sexual. Are we surprised? No.
Also because she never calls him Uncle Jacob.
No, she just calls him Jacob.
If you wanted to dispel some of that, never call him Uncle Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, now that that's out of the way.
That's fun, exciting.
Should we talk about the epilogue?
Yeah, should we talk about the book?
Yeah, let's
talk
talk
about
the book and be done with it.
Right. So, big surprise, Edward convinces Bella, or doesn't really even convince Bella, makes Bella do something that she doesn't want to do. Is anyone shooketh?
No.
Right. So, epilogue. Do you want to summarize it?
Sure. So, Edward takes Bella to the prom. It's a surprise. She doesn't want to go.
She starts crying.
Yeah, she starts crying out of anger when she figures it out because she thought that she was going to get turned and it was going to be a special occasion, which oh, poor baby. Mm-hmm. But in the car, Edward gets a call on his flip phone from Charlie saying that Tyler is at Bella's house to take her to prom.
Was he expecting it to be one of those, like, stupid, like, oh, I know you said no, but look, I showed up and here's flowers, so we're gonna go and have a great time.
Yup. That's what he was fucking expecting.
So there's 2 men in Bella's life who are literally dragging her into things that she doesn't want to do.
Yeah, but, like, she told Tyler no.
Yes.
Zillion times. Like, he was the one who kept asking her about prom, and she kept saying no. And it's like, go away, Tyler. No one wants you here.
Go away.
They get to the prom. They start dancing. Jacob arrives. He's not in a tux, and Billy paid him to come tell Bella that we'll be watching.
We'll be watching.
Which Jacob at this point still thinks is ridiculous because he doesn't believe the stories.
No, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't know it's real. He's like, all right. But Billy bribed him with buying him that part for his car and with $20.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just pissed off at Edward because he's like, I want you to have a human experience. She doesn't want this human experience. Like, come on. Like, what? Come on. Don't be difficult, Bella. Like, I don't want you to miss out on anything. She's not missing out on anything if she doesn't go to high school prom. How much of high school prom do you remember?
Oh, quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't drunk for them.
I wasn't drunk either, and I hardly remember them. I don't even think I didn't drink back then. I did not drink in high school. Fun fact. I was a good child. But I remember, here's a great story. I remember dancing with my boyfriend for senior prom. We realized that his swim coach was like right behind us staring at us as we were dancing. And we were like, oh my God, this is awkward. And ran.
That's weird.
Oh, it was so bad.
We stayed until, so this was junior prom. We stayed till like the end. So by 11, all of the weird people who had been grinding left.
To go
and
have
so
sex.
We were just like jumping around, and it was all of the nerds, and it was really fun.
I'm trying to remember how my prom night ended. So, like, my senior prom was way better than my junior prom for many reasons. I don't really remember anything other than the ballroom, and, like, I remember taking pictures together, and then, yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And like, I mean, prom was always this big thing for me. Like, I was always excited to go to prom. I don't remember being about prom the way some girls in high school were, or how girls in teen TV shows appear to be. Mm-hmm. Did you know it's actually called a promenade dance?
I mean, I figured, man, every time I hear the word promenade, it brings back 8th grade memories of square dancing in PE class and the CDs saying promenade.
Promenade is to walk in French.
Yeah.
So that's why. So we're just going on a tangent here. Let's talk about prom. I have Wikipedia pulled up. In the early days of high school proms, the nighttime dance served as a function similar to the debutante ball, the first adult social event for teenagers. Served as a heavily documented occasion, similar milestone just as communion or wedding.
When did it originate?
Historians believe that proms may have existed at colleges as early as the late 19th century. A journal of a male student at Amherst College in 1894 recounts the invitation and trip to an early prom at a neighboring Smith College for women. Could have been a description just for an ordinary dance, but soon it would be brought up to be larger than life. So it definitely was going on in the early 20th century. In the early 20th century, prom was a simple tea dance where high school seniors wore their Sunday best. And then in 1920s and 30s, prom expanded to the annual class banquet where kids wore party clothes and danced afterwards. Fundamentally important agencies as a nationwide campaign to fight homosexuality promoted heteronormative practices such as prom king and prom queen, requiring strict gender conformity.
Fun fact.
Yes.
At my senior prom, the prom king and queen were 2 girls. And they were together.
I love it.
Also, fun fact, I was a junior prom princess.
No way. I love that.
But yeah, where were your proms? Because my junior prom was in the high school cafeteria, and my senior prom was
the high school. What? You were in the high school cafeteria for your prom?
The multi-purpose room.
Are you at what? Are there no hotels anywhere in?
I mean, not ones with ballrooms. That's why we were at a vineyard for senior year.
No, our prom was at the Doubletree Hotel. Like, it's this random-ass hotel. It was really nice, and, like, it was gorgeous and great, but no, some people were having their proms at, like, the Broadmoor. No one in my town had their prom in the cafeteria or the gym.
Well, there's nothing to do in my town, so...
You know, but there's so many cute, like, old houses and everything like that. Old churches. You guys could have gotten creative somehow. I believe in you.
Yeah, I think they were saving money for senior prom. So I'm pretty sure that the student council was appointed with the task of choosing the venue. And so junior prom was kind of a light version of prom, while they saved up for the big bash, which was senior prom.
Was it only your junior, like, was it really divided up by class? So, like, only juniors were at the junior prom and only seniors were at the senior prom? Okay.
Like, you had to be at least invited by a junior, but you could go at any age. Same with senior prom. You just had to be invited by a senior.
So for us, prom was for juniors and seniors. So if you were invited by either or, you could go.
Okay, and it was one prom.
It was one prom.
Okay, we had two.
Right. See, that's what I meant. Like, ours was just one single prom.
I think there was a discussion of merging the proms, and people were very opposed to that. Probably because the seniors had, like, raised so much money already to have what they wanted.
Yeah. That's interesting that you guys had it separated. Then again, I went to the rich white kids school, home of the rich white kids, so that might be why we had an extended budget.
Yeah, we did not.
But while we're there in the darling, cute little gym that is disguised as prom, Jacob shows up and is like, hey, my dad's a creep, it's your boy.
Don't say it. I know what you're thinking.
I know, and it's because Cameron always, like, answers the phone and goes, what up, it's your boy, skinny penis, and I'm like, fuck you, man. What do you want?
Anyway, Jacob.
I love him so much. I feel so bad for him, but I love him.
I felt bad for him here.
I know.
Because Edward's angry with him.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. What is the point? Like, why are you so mad? You can clearly, like, what? You're going to be mad that Jacob thinks that Bella's pretty? Oh, no.
Yeah, like, get over yourself.
How fucking dare. Oh, no, you date a pretty girl. Clearly other people. Like, that is so just...
Like, you deal with this every day when you read people's thoughts.
Right.
Like, you see them catcall Bella in their minds every single day.
Like, Bella is not your possession, first of all. And second of all, just because they think she's pretty doesn't mean that they're going to make a move on her.
Right. I don't know. Does he know before Jacob does that Jacob is going to be a werewolf?
I don't think so, because it's not predetermined. It's like a genetic thing that appears in time of need. So, like, he knows that he's descended from werewolves, but he doesn't know for sure that Jacob is going to become one.
Then he's just being irrational.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like our boy Eddie at all.
Calm down, Edward.
Calm down, Edward. The whole thing with Edward is, like, he is using Bella like a Barbie doll. He is fulfilling his fantasies here. Bella would not have gone to prom without Edward forcing her to go. She's not missing anything. And if he had just said, I've never taken a girl to prom before and I want the experience to do so, like, Bella would have happily gone with him. She probably would have, like, limped her way onto that dance floor for him. But, like, what, is he too proud to say, I want this moment? Or, like, why is he hiding it? It's so dumb, because she doesn't want to go. He's clearly the only one who wants to go. He should have just been honest and said, I want to take you because this is something I've, never gotten to do before.
But we know clear and honest communication is impossible for people in this book.
I know.
I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as to say using her, but he is having the high school experience that he wants and that he wants her to have, and he's using her as an excuse, kind of.
Right, and, like, this is the experience that he wants. I'm not using her in the way of, like, oh, he doesn't even care about her. Like,
right,
it's more like he's using it to fulfill things that he missed out on. The whole thing is, like, he doesn't want her to miss out on any human experiences is because he missed out on human experiences.
It's kind of like when a guy wants to see a movie that a guy, quote unquote, shouldn't want to see, and so he uses his girlfriend as an excuse to go see it.
Right. Or, like, bringing home a new pet and being like, yeah, the wife really wanted it, and then turn around 2 seconds later, the new pet and the dude are, like, cuddling on the couch. Okay.
AKA my dad with my cat.
AKA my dad with my dog.
Does he cuddle with Boo?
Oh, I have to send you a photo. It's great.
Oh. Yeah, see, my cat Barbie sleeps on the armchair with my dad, literally between his legs, as he takes a nap every single day. She's there.
I love it, and I support her.
It's super cute.
I mean, maybe I'm just cynical, but I just don't think prom is a huge... I mean, it's a good high school experience. It's great, but maybe it's just because college meant so much more to me than high school ever did. That could be why I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Because, like, for us, high school wasn't the end-all, be-all.
No.
And especially now, looking back on it, it's because we've been to college since then. But also, Bella isn't planning to go to college. And neither is Edward.
Well, I mean, I think if our core group of friends had been friends in high school and we'd all gone to prom together, that probably would have made prom a lot more memorable. I think it's because you and I and, like, our core group, our friendships mean so much to us. And, like, the people we're with more so than the experiences. So, like, college meant more because we had the people.
True, but maybe that's also explaining why I remember more of prom, because I had a very solid group of really good friends in high school, especially junior and senior year.
That's awkward. I totally didn't. I guess my final thought, I mean, do you have anything else to add here when it comes to the book and Twilight itself? I mean, I guess really there's not much to analyze other than, you know, Edward was like, oh, I will turn you. Just kidding. I'm not gonna, like, okay, we all know that's gonna happen. So, we don't really end off with much of a cliffhanger other than, like, to be continued.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess my final thoughts on the book are, it's nice to revisit my memories, but I think it joins the pile of books that I'd read on occasion, like when I'm bored, and probably wouldn't get all the way through. But also, that being said, this is like the first time I've read the book since I was probably 15, so it probably won't get read very much. But looking back, I remember how much when I was a kid, how I hated Edward. Everyone around me was Team Edward. I hated him. I hated him so much. So even at 12, I was woke enough to know that he was creepy. But what's disappointing is looking back now at Jacob and seeing how he changes throughout the series, and not only that, just like kind of reading him in the book and being like, oh, he does get pushy. I still love Jacob Black more than anything, especially in this first book, because he's just he's like an innocent little cream puff and you just want to protect him from the world. Mm-hmm. So he is still one of my favorite characters. And I think the biggest thing that's changed between the first time I read Twilight and now is that I definitely ship Alice and Bella a hell of a lot more now. Like,
yeah, you can see it a lot.
Give
like,
me the gay
prom,
ladies. Yes.
She's describing the, like, dresses that Alice and Rosalie are wearing very specifically in detail. She has such a friendship with Alice that's so obvious, and she, like, mentions her and thinks about her, actually, which, like, who else does she think about when they're not around? Just Edward, really.
Exactly, yeah. The one thing I would want to add on to that is if we could change anything other than making Bella and Alice gay, I think we need more Rosalie and we need more Jasper. Please and thanks. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go on a tangent here, but this kind of leads into what I did next. Is like, Bella really doesn't make her own decisions in this book. Not at all. The first thing I want to say is, hey, let's let a girl make her own decisions. But another thing that's interesting is that I binge read pretty much all of Life and Death in about 3 days because I was reading it sporadically and then I was like, shit, I got to finish it. So thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much at the same time you were binge watching all the movies, I was trying to get through Life and Death.
You were cramming for this episode.
I crammed for this episode and like had to re-borrow it from the library and was like, fuck. Because I went to go read it, and then it was like, this was returned yesterday. And I was like, no, I need it back! And I borrowed it. And what's interesting about Life and Death is, if you don't know, it's the gender swap version of Twilight. And the whole basis of the book is, it's like the story of gender swap Bella and Edward, aka Beau and Edith, which we've discussed in previous episodes. Go back and listen if you can't remember. But the whole base of the book is Meyer defending Bella from the idea of being the stereotypical damsel in distress and claiming that it's more of a human in distress than anything else. But when I was reading it, I can't help but feel that Beau has a lot more control and autonomy over his future than Bella did. Like, he does not appear to be as obsessive, and he also has a little bit more control. Even his ending and like just his actions are definitely more, his own conscious decision. So like he openly can hold and touch Edith, and he doesn't have any hesitation in holding her or touching her face or petting her hair or kissing her. I think the biggest thing that I noticed is that Beau gets the ability to choose yes or no when Bella wasn't given a choice at all. It was just no. So in the last 2 chapters of the book of Life and Death, Beau is actually bitten by the female version of James, whose name is Joss. And at that point, they're unable to save him. So they ask him, do you want to be a vampire or do you want to die? Like, essentially, like, I'm not going to hold you to it. Like, tell me what you want. And Beau, obviously, of course, chooses Edith and says, I want to live. I want to be a vampire. So he gets to actually choose his own future in that moment and becomes a vampire. It's essentially what would have happened. It's the original ending for Twilight. It's how Stephenie Meyer originally envisioned Twilight happening before deciding to continue it and make it more of a series. The thing that rubs me wrong is that Beau just seems like he has more control over his future just in general. And then, I don't know, he seems less entranced by Edith than Bella did for Edward. And I'm just going to summarize the epilogue really quick. And again, this is the epilogue for Life and Death, so we can see how it kind of differs. It's long as fuck. It's like 30 pages. The epilogue is 30 pages. And it's essentially the last 3 books crammed into those 30 pages. So he's changed into a vampire, screaming, wakes up as a vampire, no more screaming. And then we basically get the same scene from Breaking Dawn with Edward and Bella, except it's with Beau and Edith, where he has like this really incredible self-control and they can't believe it. And they're like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then Edith, who turns and thinks, you're going to yell at me for turning him into a vampire. Another thing that's interesting is that they tell him it's okay if you don't want to just survive off of animal blood. Like, I understand. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be part of us. Like, you don't have to come with us. So, like, they literally give him the choice to leave the Cullen clan. Edith is like, okay, you can go ahead and leave if you want. And Beau's like, of course not. Where am I going to go? Duh. I think the saddest part is that they fake Beau's death by plummeting his truck over a ravine with a dead body inside of it.
Where'd they get the dead body?
From a graveyard.
Oh.
And they're like, oh no, he's dead. But, like, DNA is a thing. And so while I was reading that scene, while they're describing what they did, all I could think about was the Sherlock episode with Irene Adler. The line where it's a Scandal in Belgravia, season 2 of Sherlock, and John goes, the records keeper. And she goes, I know what he likes. And that's the only thing I could think of, because she literally goes in and changes her DNA in the fucking system to fake her own death. And so I'm like, what, did Alice pull like an Irene Adler here and be like, I know what he likes, I'll change the DNA? Or Archie, I guess, would be whoever did it. And I guess it was just some other dead guy, so that's fine. But, who needs dental records or DNA or any of the modern advances that we would have had? Come on, really? And then what's also kind of sad is Beau watches his own funeral, but he's like weirdly happy during the funeral because he's with Edith. And then he has to face Bonnie Black and finds out about the werewolves in like 3 sentences. So again, it's basically just books 2 through 4 in about 20 pages, which kind of sucks and doesn't really seem necessary. If you're reading Twilight, then you know what happens, presumably. So like, let it be who it is. And then it of course ends with a forever, between forever Edith and Beau, and it's cute and everything like that, but it's, oh my gosh, it's interesting. And I strangely enjoyed it. I don't know why. I liked it more than Twilight. Probably the fact that Edith wasn't portrayed as like a Black Widow or the sexy temptress. And I would honestly probably read more of Beau and Edith just to get a different perspective on things. It's like good fan fiction.
Speaking of good fan fiction.
Hey, we didn't find any. But I do have some suggestions. So I have a couple. This is going to be great. Let me go ahead and pull them all up here and get their names down. So I went to the really only place to go for any kind of
thoroughly tagged fan fiction,
thoroughly fucked up fan fiction, thoroughly gay and or rated X fan fiction. The beautiful, wonderful, give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen. It is Archive of Our Own. Let's go. So I found a few that were pretty good. And when I say pretty good, I mean they were entertaining. Some people really need to work on their grammar. It's fine. The first one that I found was Twilight Reimagined by NerdyGirlGamr, and gamer is spelled Gamr. And she writes that Twilight itself is not well written until now. I have rewritten the original book of Twilight chapter by chapter, improving the characters and leaving out unnecessary filler. It's an AU of sorts where the characters have personality. And so when it comes to personality, Bella's a fucking stoner. Like she's like, you got weed? Yeah, dope. And like it's darker because like Renee died, and that's why she had to go live with Charlie. And it's just it's ridiculous, but it's really funny. She says fuck like every other word, and it's just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, oh da 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 da. And it's hilarious. And she's just very much like, I can picture her wearing like a black ball cap, like Avril Lavigne style, with like the old straight hair with the bangs in her face, just being like, bruh.
Oh my goodness. Like
stealing beer and alcohol. So this is giving people a personality. You know, it was enjoyable. It was kind of funny. I read through the first couple chapters. I was like, okay, I can get on it. The next one that I found that was pretty great was, it was actually just titled Stephanie Meyer Hit Me Up. And it's by an author called Creepyjacobisbad. And I just wanted to point out that chapter 12 is I'm more done with vampires than Bella and movie Jacob combined, which is pretty great. But the summary for that one is, what if Edward never came back? What if Bella accepted this and moved on? What if Jacob wasn't so pushy? Bella actually ends up saving Edward and then tells him to leave her the fuck alone because he sucks. So it's kind of great. He's like, oh my God, I missed you so much. And she's like, hang on, we're even. I'm leaving now. Goodbye.
Oh my goodness.
It was great. And then another one that I found that also made me laugh was Twilight, except really freaking gay. And it's by McAntiLoughlin. And here's the summary. Bless them. So I was originally going to edit Twilight so that Beau from Life and Death, aka the 10th anniversary Twilight Reimagined book, was the one that Edward fell in love with. But then I thought about how androgynous Bella and Beau acted in both of the series and was like, what about a trans Beau? And of course, after reading the first chapter where Bella describes the Cullen clan, I had to make Beau a disaster bisexual. So yeah, pretty much the exact same, for, minus the formatting, a few scenes maybe, and dialogue for obvious reasons. So if you ever wanted to read a much gayer version of Twilight or just need a more trans representation in your life, I hope you enjoy reading this as much as I would have if it had all been canon.
Wow.
So like Beau goes to sit down next to Edward and, you know, is almost stabbed with a pencil, and just beautiful. Well done, my friend. Thank you,
doing the Lord's work.
McAntiLoughlin. Doing the Lord's work. And I didn't read all of these in its entirety, so if they end up sucking, it's not my fault.
Okay.
But the other one was called Solar Flare. It was called Autumnala. And so I really liked this one because it explores a little more of Bella loving both Jacob and Edward, and actually letting Edward go. Like, she goes back to the Cullen house and like has this really cathartic cry about it. And is like, oh my God, he sucks. And I can love Jacob. It's fine. But she's not like fully over it at the same time. Like it's not like a snap decision. Like suddenly she's over it. Like she still deals with feelings for Edward and feelings for Jacob while she's actively getting over Edward, which I think is really realistic and nice. So I wanted to throw that one in there as a last kind of shout out because I thought that it took a really interesting perspective and, you know, different look at that character. And I guess I'm sensing a pattern here because all of them are like, fuck Edward. Yeah, that was the fan fiction I found.
Nice. That's really great. Yeah. I was hoping that you were going to find like a disaster by.
A disaster
one.
by.
Like, I'm so happy that you did.
If anyone is going to find a disaster by, it will be me.
Yes.
And you will be found.
I'm gonna put all of the links to these in the episode notes. Stephanie Meyer Hit Me Up is rated general audiences, just so you know. The others are teen, except for Solar Flare, which is rated mature. So
get it.
Yeah.
We also have a shit ton of YA paranormal romances that are pretty good.
Mostly I got these from Mackenzie Lee's books recommendations. She's an author, and if you follow her on Instagram, she has highlights with a bunch of book recommendations. YA for LGBT plus books. She has such a catalog of books in her mind. Like, I don't even understand it.
Mackenzie Lee is a blessing to everybody. If you have not read Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Go read that book. God damn it. If you want a disaster buy, go read Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue.
The biggest disaster buy ever.
My darling.
But also, like, she kind of has a YA paranormal romance. Have you read This Monstrous Thing?
I have. It was great.
Yes. It was amazing.
It's
I love,
such...
so
and
good.
it made me homesick for Switzerland. Oh, man.
It's a retelling of Frankenstein, but it's like Clockwork People.
Oh, it's beautiful. Please read that. Just anything by Mackenzie Lee, anything she looks at or spits on, just like go for it.
Yeah, which is why her highlights on her Instagram stories are such a resource for finding good books. So, I guess without further ado, let's list some.
City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Cassandra Clare is problematic, but her books are pretty good. I actually love the prequel series more than City of Bones. The City of Bones series is actually called the Mortal Instruments, and then the prequel series is The Infernal Devices. And The Infernal Devices takes place in Victorian England, and it's just great. Like, the first time I legitimately, like, had tears running down my face and was, like, crying, holding a book, was The Infernal Devices, the last book, because I love Jem Carstairs. But City of Bones is also great. Kind of weird, kind of trips into a weird, like, is this incest? Is this not? You never really know.
And I pulled that one from Goodreads. I also pulled from Goodreads Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead, which is a series. I haven't read it.
I have.
You know, vampires.
I will give it this. It does have a very strong female lead, and I like her a lot. I think her name is Rose, and she's kind of a badass.
So the next one, which is the first one on the list that I have actually read, is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. Libba Bray in general is really great. This one is like 1800s, witches, boarding school, gayness.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so there.
It's really good.
I love it. Okay. What's A Study in Charlotte? I know you haven't read it.
It's a YA mystery that I pulled from Mackenzie Lee's list.
Love it.
A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro.
What else have you read?
On this list, I've recently read Vivian Apple at the End of the World, which is kind of a teen road trip, but also falling in love and taking down the apocalypse responsible people. So it's like taking down the system. It's badass. It's really fun. I sped through both of the books. And I really enjoyed them.
Great. Looking back, I guess I don't read much paranormal romances.
Yeah, me neither. I don't read much romance in general.
I know. I need to start reading more, especially now that work is slowing down and I have time to read. I need to get through books. I don't know if this isn't really a romance, but it is kind of paranormal, but An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by, is it Hank Green?
Yes, it's Hank Green.
So that's kind of a paranormal. There's like moments of romance in it, but it's kind of a paranormal teen, tween, young adults.
It's technically new adult.
I didn't realize there was a difference, but yeah, you know what I mean.
It's a recently developed genre. So you have middle grade, which is like middle school, young adult, which is like high school, and then you have new adult, which is like college, early 20s, and April May is in her early 20s, just out of college, and it's like kind of a coming of age thing. So like I write new adult.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, not many people have heard of it. But us millennials, we want books about struggling.
Yes.
As young people.
I mean, no one else is going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add, dude? Is this it?
This might be it for Twilight.
This might be it. Holy shit.
Oh, I had something to add.
Yeah.
Like in terms of my final thoughts. Overall, as a book series, all right. I think we were kind of guilty of this at the beginning because I'm going through and re-listening to old episodes for the blooper episode, which is coming in 2 weeks.
Oh, dear.
But we might have been a bit harsh on teenage girls who get a lot of shit for anything they like. Like, if you liked reading or watching these movies as a preteen or a teen, like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, or now. Now that we're older, we've definitely moved on from that. And so I think we've grown beyond having the same relationship with Twilight that we did in middle school. That doesn't mean that you can't still have a relationship with it, like still value it for it having such a place in your life at that time. Mm-hmm. But it does mean that, like, as we grow up, it's our responsibility to actually grow. And I think part of this 14-episode journey has been growing to understand our middle school selves a little bit more.
Yeah.
And to appreciate them for who they were back then.
Sweet baby angels, to quote Georgia Hardstark.
Like, we were different people back then. And, like, we're different now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And, like, Generation Z gets a lot of flack for everything.
Hey, we support you guys. Like what you like as long as it's not hurting anybody.
And don't vape. Don't get addicted to nicotine. Like, stop it.
You're better than that.
But, like, younger generations always get shit. And so I think what I especially am going to take from this is, like, when I see a bunch of middle schoolers obsessing over, I don't know, Vine or TikTok or...
Is TikTok even a thing?
Yeah, it is. But, like, when I see teens freaking out about a book or flocking to the theater to see something that I, as a 20-something, can see is not the best and is not perfect and is not perfectly woke, I'm going to cut them some slack.
Cut you guys some slack.
And I think we all should.
I think, yeah, be gentle to your younger self for the mistakes that you've made or, you know, the things that you loved when you were younger, and just go easy on yourself and don't be a dick to anybody.
You liked what you liked, but learn from it.
And do it for the vamps. One last yikes moment?
Oh, I thought that was the end since you said do it for the vamps. No, let's do one last yikes moment to...
Okay.
Yike us out of this.
Let's yike us out of this memory lane. I'll go first this time. My yikes moment. Pretty obvious, but Bella literally, quite literally, being dragged to prom.
Mine was Tyler refusing to take a hint after all this time.
There we go.
Oh, jeez.
So, how many pages is this sucker? We're on 56 pages of our Google Docs, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh. We're starting a new Google Doc for the next one.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of the next one, what's it going to be?
Who knows?
Who knows? We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Guess you guys are going to have to find out.
Also, nobody sent us anything.
Fuck you guys.
No. Anyway, last minute logistics. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks with an outtakes/bloopers episode.
Which I did not know you were putting together, so I'm
I
horrified.
know.
I'm terrified.
I was saving it for a surprise for this episode.
Oh my god. Okay, here we go.
All right, so we're on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Stitcher.
We're on Twitter.
At Let's Unpack Pod. Follow us, tweet us, let us know what you think.
Validate our existences. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.